Good morning, everyone. This is a little bit different for me because I'm used to being here with you guys in person. I hope everyone's doing well. Diane and I have really missed being in church and being with you guys and seeing y'all. And that's what I've been thinking about. And what I wanted to talk about today is friends and friendship. Uh, when you're not around people that you care for and love, you really miss them, and you think about all the friendships. And I started thinking the other day about when I was a little kid. I mean, God, from the time you're brought into the world, He wants you to have friends. He wants you to be loved, and He puts people in your lives, and you make choices on who your friends are for the most part. Some people are shy, some people are outgoing. Some people, they need for you to come to them, to hold out a hand and flash a smile, for you to be their friend because they need that. I've got a friend that I've reconnected with from when growing up together. We played ball together, we went to high school, graduated together, graduated from college together, and then kind of lost contact over the years when we both got married. But in the last couple of years, we've reconnected, and we talk a couple times a week. As a matter of fact, he's coming in this weekend, and we're going to visit, and that's just a good thing. It's something that I think pleases God, that you have friendships like that. And like I said, I miss being around you guys. I miss hearing Brother Jim speak, the choir, the solos that are sang, the time in Sunday school class. That's all important to us, and we can't wait. Hopefully this pandemic they'll find a cure, and things can get back to normal sometime, and hopefully in the near future. Hopefully at the first of next year. I don't know if there's a timetable, but would like to see everybody back and things back to normal again. I was thinking about a couple of things that happened in my life involving friends. When I was in high school, I don't remember if I was a junior or senior. I was coming home from school one afternoon in my car, and right before I got to my house, Abernathy Motors, and a lot of you guys remember Abernathy, had the Dodge dealership over on the G Street, and they were bringing a car out for my grandfather to look at. They were hoping to sell him a car, and back in those days, they'd bring one out and show it to you. And when the guys got there with the car, they were turning left into my grandfather's house, and there was a friend of mine who was 2 or 3 years older. He was speeding up the highway. He never saw them, and he clipped them from behind, and his car flipped 3 times, and it threw him out, and he was just laying in a puddle of blood. His body was twitching. My grandfather ran out first to see if the guys in the other car were okay. And then he looks up and he sees a car that had stopped. And a man had got out of the car, ran over to the kid that had gotten hurt, and held him down by the shoulders so he couldn't move. He held him there till the ambulance got there. And then everybody was gathered around him. My grandfather says, I looked up and looked for the man that held him down, and he was gone. He left. No one ever knew who this Good Samaritan was, where he came from, where he went to, but the doctors told the family later, had it not been for the man stopping and keeping him still, he would have died that day. So it's just an example of being a Good Samaritan or a friend that can save lives. And you don't have to be an EMT or a fireman or a policeman or something like that to do something like that for someone. And it's something that always stood out in my mind, that man did that, and he didn't stay around for accolades or for a pat on the back. He went about his business after that. The other day, I was sitting at the house, and I got on Facebook, and right before my eyes, I saw a very good friend of mine had been killed in a car wreck the night before. His name was Terry Carr. Terry was a kind of a bigger than life guy. I met him through covering sports for the newspaper. Terry owned a restaurant first in Monette and then in Manila, but he always fed the kids at ball games, at tournaments. He was a giver. He was one of those type of people that was always laughing, smiling, telling jokes, and giving of himself. And I met him through that. He would keep the books for the coaches during the games, or he would keep the scorebook behind the scores table, or he even run the clock. Anything that he could do to contribute, Terry was always there to help, and he always wanted to help the kids. When we first met Terry, Diane told me, she said, I don't know about this guy. He's just too loud, too bigger than life. But we grew to love the guy. He was very important in our lives. I wouldn't call Terry, he wasn't the type friend that we went to his house and ate with him or we went out with him or anything. We saw him at the ball games, but he was always there to greet us. He would give Diane a big hug. He always had a place for us at the scores table to sit. He always made sure we had refreshments. He took care of us. He was an Ole Miss fan. I was a Razorback fan, so we kind of bantered back and forth over that stuff. But we became, close buddies. I mean, it was a friendship that Terry and I just liked each other. We just got along, and he had lost his wife about 3 months ago. She had been okay, and she just suddenly got sick, and she didn't recover and passed away. And because of the pandemic, Diane and I weren't able to go over and offer our condolences at the time. And so I haven't seen Terry since, before everything was shut down. And so it came as a shock to me when I found out he'd been at Horseshoe Bend playing in a golf tournament with his two grown sons. And on the way back, an elderly man crossed the center line, hit him head on, and the boys were right behind him. They were able to get him out of the car, but he died in their arms. So you never know when you see somebody if you're ever going to see them again. And so I would encourage you today to tell your friends what they mean to you. Flash a smile at them, give them a hug, shake their hand, pat them on the back, give them a compliment. Don't let things like that go by so that you don't have that opportunity anymore. There's a verse in the Bible, and I won't quote it exactly right, but it's the one that talks about, and there's no greater love than to lay your life down for your friend. And I think of Terry quite often now, and I realize that I won't see him again unless it's in heaven, and that's something we look forward to. But we pray for his family, and just wanted to share that with you. That I know that a lot of you guys have friends too, and they're out there, and just encourage you to tell them how you feel about them. And I wanted to say this before I close, that I'm praying that, like I said earlier, that we can find a cure for this, that the pandemic will end soon. We can all be back together and worship together. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.